It wasn't until the 5th year of being with Kevin that I found out his child was already 1 year old. At the birthday banquet, they looked like one big happy family. When Kevin saw me, he sneered with disdain. "Relax. No one's going to think you're the mistress." I smiled faintly, turned around, and walked away. He was certain I'd forgive him with just a little coaxing until the young master of the conglomerate sent out his wedding invitation. On a stormy night, Kevin went madly pounding on the doors of their villa. I opened the door, glanced at him sideways like the pathetic stray dog he was, and said impatiently, "Sorry. I don't steal other women's men." Chapter 1. At the lively family banquet, a delicate little baby sat at the center of attention. Kevin, my boyfriend of 5 years, sat to the child's left, his face glowing with pride. A well-dressed woman sat on the other side, gently spoon-feeding the baby. Kevin's parents were also there. The whole family laughed together in a scene of warmth and intimacy across 3 generations. I stood at the doorway, momentarily dazed by the harmonious picture. "Miss, may I ask who you're looking for?" A waiter noticed me frozen at the entrance and spoke up. In an instant, the room fell silent. All eyes turned toward me. It wasn't until the elegant woman chuckled softly that Kevin finally stood, unhurried, and pulled me outside. With mocking indifference, he spoke as though my catching him red-handed meant nothing. "That's Virginia. Our families have been close for generations. With our kind of background, you should know, I can't just marry whoever I want. You've always been sensible. I thought you'd understand." Kevin and I had been together since college, 5 years. He was a wealthy heir, the type who could charm 1,000 women and still have more lining up. Even while dating me, rumors and scandals never stopped. He was every inch the playboy, dragging my name through the mud and making me a target for gossip. When asked why he'd choose a poor girl like me, his explanation was always the same: because I was sensible. I knew my place, and I could take care of a family. I let out a bitter laugh. "When did it start?" Kevin raised an eyebrow. "Does it matter?" "Almost 2 years, I guess. The baby just turned 1. I unclasped the necklace he'd given me only a few days ago. "This is the only gift of yours I still wear. Take it back. The rest I'll pack and send to your home." Kevin twirled the necklace around his finger, lifting his brow again. "I never said I was breaking up with you. Don't worry, no one would dare call you the mistress." My expression was calm. "From now on, you live your high society life. I'll live my ordinary one. We'll stay out of each other's way." His face darkened. "Bianca, do you even know what you're saying?" "I do." And with that, I turned away, feeling the rush of long-awaited relief. I had wanted to say those words for years. "Kevin, what's so good about this Bianca? Give her face and she still doesn't know her place." From inside, I could hear his mother come out, fuming. "Mom, come on, I'm married with a kid already. It's normal for Bianca to be upset, but I'm sure she'll come back once she cools off. Don't lose sight of what's important. Virginia is your wife. That project in the West, we need her family's influence for it to go through." "Got it, Mom. Besides, with the baby already here, what father-in-law wouldn't help his son-in-law?" Chapter 2. I wandered aimlessly through the streets before finally stepping into a bar. Saying I wasn't hurt would be a lie. Pretending to be unbothered was just an act. I ordered a whiskey and sat at the counter, drinking slowly. Within an hour, no less than 10 men tried to strike up a conversation. None of them caught my eye, none were as handsome as Kevin. None had a voice as rich as his. Kevin. I forced myself not to think about that ex. But the more I drank, the more I thought of him. Back in school, when my mother needed heart surgery, we were short 150,000 yuan. That was when Kevin appeared. Sometimes I wondered if I had simply been sold to him for that money. "Bianca, is that you?" I lifted my head, squinting. A tall, lean man stood in the glow of the bar lights, his face indistinct. He wore a cool-toned shirt, collar casually undone to reveal sharp collarbones. His slim waist was tucked neatly into dress pants, his long legs straight and elegant. I swallowed hard. A single woman now, shouldn't I indulge myself a little? "You know me?" I swirled the liquor in my glass. "Have you drunk so much you don't even recognize me? I chased you back in school." The man leaned closer. Only then did I recognize him, Simon, a junior 3 years younger. I took a slow sip of whiskey, licking the corner of my lips, letting my gaze linger on him. His Adam's apple bobbed. I curled my lips into a teasing smile. Want to come over to my place? We were both in our 20s, some things didn't need to be spelled out. Simon's eyes darkened, black pupils swallowing the light. For a moment, silence stretched between us. I regretted my rashness, realizing just how drunk I was. But instead of refusing, he spoke softly, with a trace of hidden delight. With pleasure. Chapter 3. The house was already empty. I turned on my phone and saw Simon had left me a message. You looked so peaceful sleeping. I didn't have the heart to wake you. I went to work first. Remember to eat lunch. I smiled faintly. Was this Simon still some naive kid? There was no need for this kind of after-sales service. I was planning to nap a little longer when someone knocked on the door. Dragging myself up, I got dressed and opened it, only to see Kevin. This small apartment was just a rented 2-bedroom. Kevin knew the address, but he had never once visited. This was his first time. Quite the rare guest. My voice was hoarse. Even I noticed it. Kevin frowned. Did you just wake up? What's it to you, Kevin? We're already broken up. Still angry. Huh? Don't tell me you drowned your sorrows last night and that's why you're only getting up now. I smirked. Yeah, and with a handsome guy too. With that, I slammed the door in his face. Seeing an ex first thing in the morning, what bad luck. Bianca, say that again. It was the first time he'd been treated like this at my place, and Kevin was clearly losing his composure. Don't play games. I know you too well. You're just trying to provoke me. Make me jealous. Isn't that the only trick you women ever use? Kevin was still Kevin, arrogant and condescending. I'll take you to the hot spring resort in a couple of days. Stop sulking. Enough is enough. He muttered at the door for a while longer before finally leaving. I had no idea where he got the confidence that I was only pretending to be mad. Chapter 4. After a nap, I slept all the way into the evening. It was the smell of food that woke me. You finally decided to get up. I blinked in disbelief at the scene before me. Simon was in the kitchen, wearing an apron, busy cooking. Every so often he turned his head, throwing me a look that was almost pitiful. On the table were 2 dishes and a soup. Still steaming, that was what had lured me out of bed. Drink some water first. He handed me a warm glass of water, even tucking back a few messy strands of my hair. For a moment I didn't know how to react. You're still thinking about Kevin? His marriage with Virginia's family, it's been common knowledge in the circle for a long time. So it hadn't been a secret after all. Heh. Looks like I was the last to know. His friends never said a word. They even called me sister-in-law to my face. Simon's expression grew serious, his brows furrowing. I thought you knew all along, that you stayed because you loved him. But now, I gave a bitter laugh, lighting a cigarette with practiced ease. Simon frowned even more deeply. Then I came too late. What? The words were abrupt, and I didn't catch them. Kevin doesn't deserve you. How about considering me instead? I've liked you since college. Senior. I can cook, clean, and I'm good in bed too, aren't I? He was taller by more than a head. Right now, he caged me in, staring down at me with those dark, bottomless eyes. For a moment, I felt like prey caught in a hunter's gaze, nervous, yet strangely thrilled. Marriage? That kind of relationship? My voice shook as I said it. I've got no problem with that, Simon answered without hesitation. The next morning, we walked out of the marriage bureau with red certificates in hand. He even bought me a bouquet of roses from a little stand outside. Just 2 days ago I had gone from the official girlfriend to the other woman. Now, here I was, legally married to someone I thought would only be a fling. It felt like a dream. Simon, don't you think this is unfair? I muttered, looking down at the marriage booklet. Too late now. He tapped me on the head with the red book. You'll just have to make it up to me later. I realized exactly what kind of compensation he meant. We took a month off for a so-called honeymoon on an island. But really, most of the time was spent in the hotel. Every time. Simon looked at me with those pitiful eyes. And me? I spoiled him. What else could I do? Chapter 5. The honeymoon passed in the blink of an eye. I hadn't lived such comfortable, carefree days in a long time. That day, while Simon and I were surfing on a sunlit beach, I unexpectedly received a call from Kevin's mother. Bianca, come to the He family restaurant tonight. I have something to say to you. Her tone was just like Kevin's, arrogant, always speaking to me as if I were a servant. Auntie, if you have something to say, you can just tell me over the phone. My reply was cold. I knew that all these years, she had never truly acknowledged me. Clearly she hadn't expected my indifference. After a pause, she continued, how long are you going to keep dragging out this breakup with Kevin? He barely eats because of you. He's gotten so thin. Pfft. I couldn't help but laugh. What do you mean by that? Her voice dropped. I see. Auntie, I'm not his wife. Taking care of Kevin isn't my duty. I'd hate to overstep. You know? My heart was light. The shadows of Kevin's betrayal had already been erased by Simon's endless affection and devotion. Bianca, I understand your resentment. Any woman would feel hurt being deceived by the man she loves. Her tone softened. But you also know, in families like ours, we could never let someone like you, without background, marry in. Still, Kevin's father and I aren't cruel people. Since you've been with Kevin for so long, we can't just kick you out like that. How about this, you give Kevin a son, and I'll recognize you as my daughter-in-law. This time, I really laughed. Auntie, how generous of you, sharing your precious son between two women, just so you can have a grandson? So, even though Virginia was a wealthy heiress, since she hadn't given them a son, Kevin's mother wasn't pleased with her either. Auntie, I left on my own. No need for you to chase me out. Thank goodness I hadn't married into such a family. But then, what about Simon's parents? As I drifted in thought, she suddenly brought up an old matter. Bianca, don't get carried away. If Kevin hadn't given you 150,000 yuan back then, your mother wouldn't even have had her surgery. That was true, but after 5 years of unconditional giving, enduring his affairs in silence, I figured my debt was already paid. Auntie, I transferred that 150,000 plus interest to Kevin's account a few days ago. He does so much business daily. Maybe he didn't notice. Remind him to check his messages. As for the gifts he gave me over the years, I kept them all, knowing one day I'd return them. I'll ask a friend to send them back soon. Bianca, think carefully. This is the closest you'll ever get to marrying into high society. Crazy. Not interested. Don't call again. I hung up immediately, then blocked her number. Simon had been sitting quietly, listening. His gaze was tinged with sorrow. If only I'd been there back then, he said softly. I smiled but said nothing. But you know, Simon whispered, holding me close, I'm high society too. Huh? I only knew Simon was well off, but he had no harem of beauties around him. No shady friends. Who said every rich heir needs countless flings and hangers-on? You think everyone's like Kevin? Simon chuckled helplessly, rubbing his chin against my hair. They didn't know how lucky they were. From now on, you'll be our family's daughter-in-law. Chapter 6. The plane from the island had just landed. The moment I switched off airplane mode, a flood of missed calls appeared on my phone. Kevin, Bianca, what the hell do you mean sending all that stuff back? Are you trying to drag this out forever? I sneered. On the contrary, it ended long ago. It ended the day I saw you at the restaurant with your perfect little family of 5. I thought about blocking him too. Everything had already been returned. Quit acting so high and mighty. It's not like this is the first time you've seen me with another woman. Why are you making such a fuss now? I'm warning you, my patience has limits. Don't think you can play hard to get with me. Careful you don't overplay your hand. My eyes nearly rolled into the back of my head. Kevin, you're insane. I could picture his twisted face. Kevin, I'll say this one last time, we are over. Stop clinging to me like a parasite. There was a burst of static through the speaker, followed by his roar. Bianca, what the hell did you just say? I hung up before he could finish. Hearing him lose it gave me a deep sense of relief. Later, unable to hold back my frustration, I called my best friend Alice and dragged her out to a bar. You really broke up with Kevin? Good. About time. Alice downed a pint of dark beer, more excited than I was. I always let it slide before. Thought all rich guys were just players. Didn't expect he'd actually make his wife into the mistress. I gulped down my own glass of ice-cold beer. I heard that Virginia he married isn't easy to deal with. Even made sure her daughters carry her surname. But knowing Kevin's family, Obsessed with sons. They probably don't even value daughters. Not unless it's a boy. Alice kept ranting. Meanwhile, my mind drifted to Simon. I had met him here, in this very bar. Alice. I got married. Alice's eyes widened in shock, refusing to believe me until I showed her a photo of the marriage certificate. Simon? That junior who used to chase after you? Her jaw dropped. He was the campus heartthrob and the heir to a major conglomerate. Huh? That big company's his family's? Alice facepalmed. You really got married without knowing that? I gave a helpless laugh. At the time, I was a bit impulsive. All I knew was he looked like someone I could build a home with. Their family empire, aside from the semi-retired patriarch, was run mostly by his elder sister, Olivia. Simon and Olivia, brother and sister. I had never connected the dots. Alice and I clinked glasses again and again until I stumbled off to the restroom, dizzy, splashing cold water on my face. I finally sobered up a little. That's when another woman walked in, wearing a necklace I instantly recognized. Wasn't that the limited edition piece I had returned to Kevin? By coincidence, we left at the same time. She staggered over and dropped herself beside none other than Kevin. He was sunk deep into the couch, shirt unbuttoned to the chest, covered in hickeys, clearly fresh from bed. When he lifted his gaze and spotted me, his eyes lit up. Bianca? You actually followed me here? I knew you couldn't let me go. His so-called best buddy, Dominic, jumped up and eagerly dragged me toward Kevin. Sis-in-law, come sit here. That last mess was Kevin's fault. We all told him off for it. The girl leaned weakly against Kevin, playing the fragile little flower. Kevin. Who is she? My gaze lingered on her necklace. I laughed. Kevin. I see you're recycling the jewelry I gave back to you. How resourceful. The girl's face turned green as realization hit. Kevin arched a brow. Jealous again? Don't worry. I'll buy you a more expensive one. I pulled a diamond ring from my pocket and slipped it onto my finger, the one Simon had given me on the island. I'd woken up one morning to find it already on my hand, glowing brilliantly in the dawn light. Our wedding was a bit rushed. I didn't have time to prepare a ring. I'm giving it to you now. We'll pick out the matching bands once we're back. Simon had kissed my forehead as he said it. The diamond was so massive I'd kept it tucked away in my pocket, not wanting to flaunt it. Caressing the stone, I smirked. No need. Kevin, from now on, whatever I want, someone else will give me. Kevin's face darkened. What's that? A diamond ring. Don't you recognize one? With a crash, Kevin kicked over the coffee table and leapt to his feet. You dare sneak around with another man behind my back? I don't sneak, Kevin. I'm open about it. You're the one who hides and cheats. You, Bianca. I've been too damn tolerant. That's why you think you can act this arrogant. Furious, Kevin smashed several glasses, while Dominic struggled to restrain him. Chapter 7. Early the next morning, I was sleeping soundly in Simon's arms when a strange call woke me up. Bianca, right? I'm Virginia. After Kevin came home last night, he kept throwing a drunken tantrum, shouting about how you dared to sneak around with another man. He trashed the whole house. Women like you. I've seen plenty. You just want money. Don't you? But you don't need to sleep around outside while still clinging to Kevin. Virginia's tirade made me laugh out of anger. I was just about to snap back when Simon, looking grim, took my phone. This is Simon. The other end paused for a few seconds, then changed her tone immediately. Oh, it's you. I just visited your sister a few days ago. That Shannon Plaza development project depends entirely on your family's group. Simon's brows furrowed, his face darkening with impatience. Did you just insult my wife? The woman on the other end seemed confused. Your wife, Bianca? Please don't let that woman fool you. She's my husband's mistress. She's turned Kevin upside down. If I weren't too busy to deal with her, she would have been ruined long ago. Simon's eyes narrowed dangerously. Virginia, you're mistaken. You're the mistress of the scraps my wife threw away. And I'm warning you, Bianca is my legally wedded wife now. If you dare speak ill of her again, I'll make sure your family remembers whose territory this is. And tell that piece of trash you picked up to stay the hell away from my wife. Simon only calmed down after hanging up and kissing me again. Before I could comfort him, he stepped outside and made a call. Sis. About that Shannon Plaza project, Don't give it to Virginia's family anymore. Yes, got it. I'll bring Bianca home in a few days. You'll definitely like her. When he returned, Simon told me the gossip. Apparently, Virginia's father had racked up massive gambling debts in Macau, draining their assets to the brink of collapse. Only a few insiders, like his sister Olivia, knew the truth. Kevin's family, however, was clueless. They thought they'd landed a golden marriage alliance. As soon as Virginia got pregnant, the two families sealed the deal. Kevin's parents even dreamed of getting richer through their wealthy in-laws. What they never expected was that they'd tied themselves to a bottomless pit of debt. Chapter 8. Alice texted me, Bianca, have you heard? Virginia's family might be going bankrupt. I lazily replied, Simon already told me. He said they're drowning in gambling debt. By the way, Simon's a rich heir too. He doesn't keep mistresses outside. Does he? I looked over at the man in an apron, busy at the stove, and couldn't help smiling. He's different. Alice spammed me. A man who likes cooking? Don't tell me. Oh no, you didn't get tricked into marrying a closeted guy, did you? A shadow fell over me. Closeted? Simon raised an eyebrow, leaning down with a pot of soup to peek at my phone. He wore nothing under the apron. That chest. I swallowed involuntarily. With a body like yours, are you into both men and women? Simon chuckled, shaking his head helplessly. Then he hoisted me over his shoulder. Not hungry? I'll eat you first. In the throes of passion, his hot breath brushed against my ear. Bianca, we still haven't had our wedding. You won't give me a proper answer. They don't know you're mine, and they cling to you like leeches. It makes me unhappy. On the bed, Simon was always like this, his body wild, his words pitiful, making me feel guilty for no reason. Then we'll hold the wedding. I'll do whatever you want. Simon, harder. My nails left red streaks across his back. When it was finally over, Simon showed me the wedding invitations on his phone. When had he prepared those? The date and venue were already booked, everything set. Just waiting for the announcement. Bianca, I need a proper title. I was too sore to argue, so I gave him a look of mock annoyance, which he took as consent. Then he posted the invitations to his social media. Within minutes, likes and comments poured in. What's this? Getting married so young? Isn't that the senior from university? You finally won her. So Simon's been single all these years because of her? Congrats! Simon's wife is gorgeous. Simon smugly replied to every comment. Outside, a torrential rain began to fall. I finally realized he had liked me all along. Suddenly, a frantic knock at the door. Checking the camera, I saw Kevin, drenched, pounding on the door like a madman. Bianca, I know you're in there. I went to your house and couldn't find you. Please, come out. After our honeymoon, Simon had coaxed me into moving in with him. I wanted to ignore Kevin, but since this was a wealthy neighborhood, I didn't want gossip. I slipped on a robe and opened the door. Bianca, this is fake, right? You're just trying to punish me. Kevin shoved his phone in my face. Dominic had forwarded him our wedding invite. He was soaked, rain and tears indistinguishable. I've no reason to fake it. Simon and I are married. He grabbed me, and when he saw the fresh hickey on my neck, his emotions spiraled. Bianca, let's stop fighting. I know you love me most. I'll get rid of all the other women. I swear, I'll only want you. Please come back to me. I sneered. Sorry, I don't take back cheaters' leftovers. Just then, Simon came downstairs in a matching robe, belt hanging loose, his chest still marked. Anyone could see what we'd just been doing. He pulled me into his arms and kissed my hair. Looks like I served my wife well. Then he turned to Kevin. Mr. Kevin, what business do you have with my wife at this hour? Provoked, Kevin shoved him hard. Bianca's my wife. How dare you touch her? Simon grabbed his collar and punched him. Your wife? Do you even know how she lived those 5 years with you? After all you've done, how dare you show your face? They fought viciously until security dragged Kevin away. In the pouring rain, he cried bitterly as they hauled him off. Bianca, it hurts. Please, come back and heal me. Chapter 9. The next day at the office, an uninvited guest showed up. Kevin's mother came to see me. Yesterday Kevin stood outside your house in the pouring rain. When he got back home, he had a fever, muttering your name nonstop. He's nearly lost his mind. I politely invited her into the meeting room. Auntie, you should know I'm not a doctor. She hesitated, then said, Bianca, I just wanted to ask if you could go see him. He's just been a little reckless. But the person he truly loves has always been you. I'm his mother, I know better than anyone. Not wanting to waste more time, I glanced at my watch. Auntie, you should have your daughter-in-law take care of Kevin, not me, his ex-girlfriend. I have a meeting soon. Wait! She gritted her teeth, then spoke. That daughter-in-law is nothing but a bottomless pit. Her family is nearly bankrupt, dragging us down too. We invested so much in their projects. And not only did we lose everything, we also ended up with their debts. Her expression softened, trying to flatter me. The reason I came today is to ask if you could arrange a meeting with Simon. You're with him now, right? You're a good girl. He wouldn't turn down your request. So that was it. Virginia's family and hers were about to collapse, and they wanted Simon to bail them out. I couldn't help but laugh. Auntie, next week Simon and I are getting married. If you want to see him, you're welcome to attend our wedding banquet. With that, I stood and opened the door, waiting for her to leave. The woman who used to treat me like dirt didn't dare say another word. Reluctantly, she left. But not long after, the receptionist called again. Someone else had come to see me. It was Kevin. I rubbed my temples, wondering when this mother-son duo would finally let me go. Your mom already came. What are you here for? I met him downstairs, not letting him upstairs. Kevin looked pale, his voice hoarse. Bianca, is there really no way back for us? My face was cold. Kevin, I'll say this one last time, Simon and I are married, and next week we're holding our wedding. You and your family need to stop bothering me. Kevin gave a bitter laugh. You really think Simon's family is easy to deal with? My mom told you, didn't she? Virginia's family tricked us. They just needed a sucker to take on their debts. If it weren't for Simon's family pulling out all investments and spreading rumors about my father's debts, we wouldn't have collapsed this fast. Olivia and Simon pushed us to the edge. You really think you can survive marrying into such a ruthless family? They'll eat you alive. Kevin's eyes were red as he ranted. Kevin! A sudden voice cut him off. Before I realized, Simon had appeared and punched him straight in the face. Then he looked down at me, nervous. I squeezed Simon's hand. Simon, before the wedding, shouldn't you introduce me to your parents? Of course, they've been abroad, and my sister's been swamped with work. That's why it hasn't happened yet. But my parents have already returned to prepare for our wedding. Once they're back at the estate, I'll take you home. Our fingers intertwined. Neither of us gave Kevin another glance. Chapter 10. That evening, when we returned home, Simon seemed distracted. I didn't press him, simply waited for him to speak. Bianca, what Kevin said, it's true. I poured 2 glasses of wine, handed him one, and signaled for him to take his time. Simon looked at me deeply, then exhaled. Originally, this had nothing to do with us. If we just pulled our funds out, Virginia's family might have lasted a while longer. But the way Virginia bullied you, and the way Kevin kept pestering you, it made me angry. So I spread word in the circle about Virginia's debts. I knew that once the rumor was out, it would trigger a chain reaction. With our family withdrawing, all the other investors would follow. Virginia's family is finished. Bankruptcy is inevitable. Kevin's family might survive, but they'll be crippled, and most of the profit ended up in our hands. Simon looked at me intently. Kevin was right. I'm ruthless. I smiled. Even without you fueling the fire, Virginia's family was a sinking ship with a gambler in the house. It was just a matter of time before the mine exploded. You only made it happen sooner. In a way, you even helped Kevin's family. At least they didn't get dragged down too deep. Simon stared, stunned. You don't blame me? You're not afraid of me? I leaned over and kissed the corner of his lips. In business, profit comes first. Using strategy is nothing out of the ordinary. He brushed my cheek gently. I've always stayed away from the family business because I didn't want to play those games. Olivia took care of everything. Back in school, I liked how kind yet strong you were. Even though you had a rich boyfriend, You supported yourself with part-time jobs. I was always afraid I wasn't good enough for you. At that moment, Simon was like a drenched puppy, making me want to hold him tight and comfort him. Nonsense. Silly man. I kissed him. He held the back of my head firmly, prying my lips open with his tongue, gentle yet fiercely possessive. Chapter 11. Not long after, Simon took me back to his family's old estate. I met Simon's parents, and also the legendary eldest sister, Olivia. To my surprise, his family was exceptionally warm and kind. Simon's parents had fallen in love freely. When they were young, they defied their family's objections and came to the city to build a life from scratch, turning nothing into a group that is now a major taxpayer. When Olivia took over, they began traveling the world and enjoying retirement. As for Simon, the so-called unpromising son, the family was indulgent, so long as he was happy. That was enough. After the meal, the weight on my chest finally lifted. Soon, the day of my wedding with Simon arrived. The skies were clear, and everyone from our circle showed up. On the lawn, friends gathered in groups, clinking glasses. Can't believe Simon really married the woman he's loved for so many years. We all thought he'd end up alone. I heard the bride is Kevin's ex-girlfriend. Why bring up Kevin on a day like this? He's nothing compared to Simon. True. Anyway, I heard Kevin's family and his wife's family are going bankrupt. Don't you still have business with them? Business? I pulled out long ago. Other men marry for alliances. Kevin married into a mountain of debt. Truly karma for cheating. Hearing Kevin and Virginia mentioned again stirred no feelings in me. All I wanted was for those two to never appear before me again. But just as Simon and I were about to exchange rings, Kevin appeared, out of nowhere. Don't marry him! He practically screamed as he rushed toward us, falling to his knees with a thud. One hand held a divorce certificate, the other a diamond ring. Tears streamed down his face. Don't marry him, Bianca. I'm already divorced. Let's get back together. All these years, I was terribly wrong. I abandoned such a good woman like you, only to marry Virginia, a liar. Even the daughter isn't mine. Please forgive me one last time. Let's get married. I swear I'll change. Don't leave me for Simon. Everyone present, our important business partners, watched as Kevin publicly aired his shame, kneeling in tears, completely losing face. So Kevin raised another man's daughter? His family must be furious. He's been fooling around for years. Now he wants forgiveness? Too late. A bankrupt scumbag. What does he have compared to Simon? Ridiculous. I glanced at Simon. His face showed no anger, only a mocking smile as he looked at the man groveling before us. I raised my hand, signaling Kevin to stop crying. You really look like a dog right now, I said softly. Kevin froze, forgetting even to cry. I took the ring from the box, the one belonging to Simon, and slid it gently onto his finger. Inside the band was my name engraved. Simon then placed the ring engraved with his name onto my finger. I tiptoed, kissing Simon's lips with devotion. Above us, rose petals fell like snow. We didn't care about the crowd watching. What started as a brush of lips deepened into a French kiss. As cheers and blessings erupted around us, Kevin was drowned in our happiness, forgotten, irrelevant.